You're back with us at the Nürburgring. Magnificent entertainment from the word go. Jackie Stewart, what a happy fellow. First win for his team. Here he is with Louise.
Jackie, a quick word with you. What a race and what a win.
Well, a great day for us. Our first ever Grand Prix victory. Still with the team colours on it as it was. We need a little bit of luck, but it was a hell of a race and we're very proud. And to have two on the podium is pretty sensational.
What were the feelings going through your mind in those final laps?
Well, I'm very happy. I mean, I never, as a racing driver, I've always concerned myself that you might lose it even in the last lap. So I had myself fairly well under control.
Quick word from Paul as well, your reaction?
Just unbelievable. I mean, it's a fairy tale, with everything changing for next year. To get a win for us was something that we always wanted to do. To get a win for the Stewart Ford team is absolutely amazing. Amazing doesn't describe it.
Well done.
Yeah, well done, Paul. Shed a tear after that. That was obviously before Jackie got his drenching. And there we are. There is the top six. Look at that, some very unusual names in that. Johnny Herbert, really pleased with him, Trulli second. Rubens Barrichello, 2 out of 3 for the Stewarts. Ralf Schumacher, brilliant drive from him, really. Mika Hakkinen, the only one of the big four to score. And Marc Genet getting a point for Minardi. And this is how the Drivers' Championship looks. Just 2 to go, remember, and Hakkinen with a 2-point advantage now over Eddie Irvine. Okay, Tony, deep breath. Deep breath. Sum it all up.
It's very difficult. I mean, there's not enough paper. We're running out of paper in here. Of course. I mean, the first thing is for Herbert that he suffered so much this year with failures. Even in practice, the car coasted to a halt as he came out of the pits with electrical failure. The guy is resolute. He's gone on. He's carried on smiling. His sense of humour's back. He says, I understand I do an impression of him, but I don't. It's unbelievable. And I think that it's really, really deserving. But championship battle, that's a different matter.
Can you draw any conclusion about where this really leads the Big Four?
Well, I mean, it's still all open, really. There's still a chance even for David Coulthard. David Coulthard threw it away. I mean, he led in France when it was wet, and I thought he was going to do it, and then it just looked like he was pushing too hard, and he threw it away. But the big thing for me is Hakkinen. We did a piece on psychology. I think he needs a psychologist after all this, because he dropped his head like he did in Belgium and almost gave up, and we watched him. And then suddenly it was a wake-up call, and he came back into the race. And Irvine, comedy of errors for Ferrari.
OK, Tony, thank you very much indeed. Well, now that competition, we have teamed up with the Scottish Motor Show, due to be held in Glasgow in November, and we have some terrific prizes on offer.
It's the first Grand Prix of the 21st century and a great place for the race, and you could be there in the Melbourne sunshine. Our fantastic first prize is a VIP trip for you and a friend to next year's Australian Grand Prix with some great hospitality from the new Jaguar team. We've also got VIP packages for 5 pairs of runners-up, trips to the races in Barcelona, Manicourt, Silverstone, Hockenheim and Monza. And there are also 5 Sony widescreen TVs and 5 PlayStations to give away. All you've got to do, answer 2 simple questions with a distinctly Scottish theme. Which city is hosting the 99 Scottish Motor Show? Is it A, Edinburgh, B, Glasgow or C, Aberdeen? A, Edinburgh, B, Glasgow or C, Aberdeen? Question 2, how many F1 championships has Jackie Stewart won? Is it A, 1, B, 3 or C, 5? A, 1, B, 3 or C, 5? The number to dial 0900 122 9966. 0900 122 9966. And best of luck to you all.
A lot more reaction from here at the Nürburgring. Interviews, analysis from Tony Jardine as well in our highlight show just before midnight tonight, 11:45. Now, the Rugby World Cup starts this week here on ITV and on ITV2. Live coverage of 41 matches. The opening ceremony is in Cardiff on Friday, and after that the host Wales take on Argentina at the new Millennium Stadium. A terrific 5 weeks ahead of us.
The right decision to stay on the groove tyres. Problem was that the circuit was changing. It was raining in certain parts, and I don't believe I took what was a much quicker line into the corner when I went off. But it just seemed to be less grip. I locked up the wheel. Normally in itself would just mean you'd run in the gravel, but when I was in the gravel, it didn't seem to want to turn, and it felt like I was still being driven by the rear wheel, so I couldn't turn the car. And very disappointed and angry at myself for making this mistake, because leading a Grand Prix, you got 10 seconds in hand. It's a silly thing to do, so I'm sorry for that.
Only to have lost 1 point is incredible after really the performance of, of everybody this weekend. You know, we've made a few mistakes and we got off very, very light.
It was a great opportunity for us to score 10 points today, but didn't happen.
What happened with the puncture?
Well, at the end, the tire exploded. That was the rest of the day. But, I mean, you know, those things are happening, and we're looking forward to the next race now.
When I went out of the pit, I had a full ignition cut, and I need to find out exactly what was the cause for that problem.
A similar thing happened to your teammate Damon Hill, of course. Do you think the two could be related?
Probably. We have to check that first. Yeah.
I saw Pedro fly past me, and I was very worried. And then I was on the scene, of course, when they were seeing to him. So I was very concerned for him. But thankfully, I'm really pleased to hear he's okay. But it was a real disaster. But I made a good start, and then I lost. Basically, I lost all the power to the car, and I was just unable to get out of the way of everyone.
Now, one final question I've got to ask you. Continuing speculation that this is going to be your last race. Are we going to see you in Malaysia? What can you tell us?
I can't tell you anything at the moment.
He qualified well today. He had a new structure in the way he was going. This is really not the moment that I want to start discussing about Damon's future. It's really up to him as well as me to sit down and see what he wants to do.
But what's the feeling in your bones? Will he be in Malaysia?
I think we have discussed it. He has said that if we are sure about being in third place, he would discuss standing down to me. But, you know, I don't want to lead into some private conversations. That's as much Damon's decision as mine.
From the bottom of my heart, I feel happy for Johnny, because he's been having such a bad time. He's been very patient whenever I was on the podium. He didn't even score, you know. So he deserves. I mean, there's always someone on the top there watching for us, and I think he deserved it more than I did today.
And so Mika Häkkinen's fourth place takes the reigning champion 2 points clear of Eddie Irvine. Otherwise, no real change. Apart from Ralf Schumacher, he's overtaken his injured elder brother. And Häkkinen's contribution gives McLaren an 8-point cushion over struggling Ferrari. Jordan on 57. Now, Williams could still catch them, but it's very unlikely. 14, though, for the Stewarts, puts them right on the Williams' tail. Right, then let's have a word with Tony Jardine. Tell us about the Big Four, Tony.
Well, Häkkinen really has lucked in. It was a lacklustre performance by the Finn, I have to say. He dropped his head. David Coulthard seems to have thrown it away. Irvine, despite not scoring, he's still in there, just 2 points behind, so it's still all to play for. But Häkkinen was unbelievable, because on lap 19, the wet came down. That could have been a great gamble, but unfortunately it didn't work because the rain stopped and he came in for wet tyres. Team boss Ron Dennis saw an opportunity, and in he came. Irvine came in, he took slicks, he'd gone up to 5th place, absolutely great. 1 wheel short of a full Ferrari. Ferrari men cannot count. All the faith that he's put in them, all gone away there. And this is poor Heinz-Harald Frentzen, who'd led all the time, even had led chasing DC into the pit stops, come out, electrical failure. He stops, and he had put in a brilliant performance, so frustrated he bashed the steering wheel. The laid-back Heinz-Harald Frentzen, not normally. Now, David Coulthard here are absolutely chucking it away. I was so sad for him, but you could see he was pushing far too hard in the conditions on the dry tyres. Off he went, nudges his nose gently in there. He's going to have to obey team orders in Malaysia, I'm pretty sure of it.
They don't come much better than that, do they, Tony? But we mustn't forget there was a very nasty accident involving Pedro Diniz, who's okay, but it could have been a lot worse.
Well, I find this incredible. It was caused by Damon Hill, as you'll see in a second, because he was slowing down, bunching up the field. The laser goes to the inside. There you see the unfortunate Diniz in the Sauber. He caught the rear end of Wirtz and Zanardi going past as well, but the roll hoop broke off. It's an integral part of the chassis. That should not happen. Look at this, because Wirtz has to veer past Hill there. Bang! He's caught the rear end, and over goes the Sauber and Diniz. He is such a lucky boy that that earth is soft, because his head must have been forced back inside the cockpit. The FIA will look very, very carefully at that, and you can see it all happening again. Slithering a lazy on the inside. Look at that incredible roll. It really is unbelievable. Poor old Diniz, if you remember, in '96 he escaped a very fiery Ligier, and the Sun put in the paper, Diniz in the oven.
There, though,
thumbs up, that is a great sign. He's also got a very strong neck. All Grand Prix drivers do, because they got necks twice the size because of the G-forces. And glad to see Pedro going into the back of the ambulance there, okay.
That's right, Tony. We had Jackie Stewart in here before the race. He didn't expect a win today. A great day for his team and for Britain's Johnny Herbert as well, though.
I think it's absolutely brilliant for Johnny Herbert because he's been the hard luck story of this season. He was the hard luck story last season. He'd had those 2 wins in 1995 for Benetton, one at the British Grand Prix and one in the Italian Grand Prix. Here he is up there, as you say, before the demise of Stewart Grand Prix, and Jaguar takes a look at them in unison there. Barrichello finishing 3rd as well. Johnny Herbert, after his big accident in 1988, his 3rd Grand Prix win. Oh, that's absolutely brilliant for him and great for Britain as well, with Jaguar coming onto the scene next year.
Absolutely great stuff. Tony, thank you very much indeed. So Johnny Herbert's first win, as Tony's been saying, since his Benetton days back in 1995. It's been a long time coming. He's had a lot of bad luck, but here he is now talking driver to driver with Martin Brundle.
When you got up this morning, did you expect to be sitting here smelling of champagne?
Probably not, I must admit. No, well, the weekend's been a bit, we sort of went for the choice of the hard tyre. We got that lowly grid position, and then the race, we thought we could maybe get some points out of it, but I think just the way the weather turned, it basically went into my favour, because I did a very shrewd but maybe lucky choice of when I came in for my only stop. It just started to rain down the far end, the wind's been blowing dead straight over the circuit, and it was this big black cloud, so it had to go completely over the track, and it did, and that basically made my race.
Well, the world's eyes were on the 4 championship contenders, and then, as you said, you had the right tyres on and made the best of them. Yeah. Do you make that call, or is that team decision, or what happened there today?
Well, that time, I made the call, because I was very, very fortunate, I have to say, because as I got down to the far end, down to the hairpin, it just started to throw it down, and I was coming in. So for me, it actually made it so much easier for me, because I knew it was just going to go across the track. So as soon as I came in, I said, right, it's raining so hard, I think I'm going to go for wets.
And you lapped Hakkinen at one point.
Yeah, which is pretty nice, I must admit.
And so, Johnny Herbert leads them home after 100 minutes of compelling drama. Trulli second, best ever for him and Prost. Barrichello putting the second Stewart on the podium. Ralf Schumacher 4th, he'll win a Grand Prix soon. Hakkinen 5th with the fastest lap late on. Genet makes his first point for Minardi. Irvine 7th, unusually out of the points. Zonta 8th for BAR, Panis in the second, Prost. Villeneuve, the last classified finisher, although like Badoer and De La Rosa, he'd stopped with gearbox trouble. Fisichella crashed out in the lead. The brakes failed on Salo's Ferrari. Takagi also crashed out. So did Coulthard when he was leading. Alesi's transmission failed. Frenson's electrics went. Zanardi had an accident, and Hill's electrical failure caused the early departure of Alexander Wurz, and finally Pedro Diniz. Your next Formula One action, 3 weeks' time. Brand new circuit in Sepang, the Malaysian Grand Prix. The full ITV coverage throughout the weekend. The action never stopped here at the Nürburgring. Well done to Johnny Herbert and the Stewarts, but the identity of the world champion is still a mystery that will be revealed in Malaysia and Japan. Good night.
Come on, go this time, yes!
If you'd like to know more about Formula One, the website address sponsored by Level 3 Communications is www.itv-f1.com.